I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I want to tell you what happened because maybe it'll help someone else out there. Maybe you're in a relationship that feels off but you're ignoring the signs. Or maybe you're just curious about how deep betrayal can go. Either way, this is my story. I met Emily when I was 25. She was smart, bitchy in a charming way, and she knew exactly how to get her way. I figured she was the one for me. We started dating, and honestly, things seemed good in the beginning. She was fiery but also caring, at least that's what I thought. She'd always have my back in public, and she seemed crazy about me. I proposed after 3 years and we planned a wedding. Everyone was excited, especially me. But then little things started to change. Emily became more distant. She'd cancel plans last minute, or she'd be unusually secretive about her phone. I'd catch her lying about where she was going or who she was talking to. It wasn't a huge deal at first, just little red flags, I told myself. The kind of stuff people overlook because they want to believe in their partner. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. One day, I decided to check her phone because I noticed she'd deleted messages. Nothing crazy, just curiosity. That's when I saw the texts. They weren't explicit at first, just flirty, suggestive stuff. But then I saw a message that made my stomach drop. It was from her brother, Mike. They were talking about meeting up, and the tone was clearly more than just friendly. I felt my heart race because, in that moment, I knew something was wrong. I confronted her that night, but she denied everything, called me paranoid, and accused me of spying on her. That should have been a red flag, but I brushed it off. Maybe she was just talking to her brother about something innocent, I told myself. But then I found her lipstick in his car. Not just a little, but enough to make it clear they'd been more than just sibling visits. I saw them together, sneaking around in our family cabin, her and Mike, caught in the act like a couple of teenagers. That's when I knew for sure. My wife, the woman I trusted, had been lying to my face for months, and she did it with my own brother. The betrayal cuts deeper because I trusted both of them. When I finally put the pieces together, I felt this weird mix of anger, shock, and heartbreak all at once. I had no idea how I was going to feel or what I was going to do next. When I found out about the affair, everything in my world turned upside down. I remember standing outside the cabin that day, staring at the windows while my mind was racing through every moment I thought I knew about Emily and Mike. Seeing them together like that, so careless, so blatantly betraying me, felt like a punch to the gut. I'd always suspected my wife could be bitchy and manipulative, but I never thought she'd do something this dirty, and with my own brother no less. The sense of betrayal was overwhelming. I admit, I didn't immediately confront her. I needed some time to breathe, to process what I'd seen. I felt like my heart was pounding in my chest and my hands trembling. I went home that night trying to act normal, but every time I looked at her, I saw that smug little smile she always gave when she knew she was lying. She was bitchy, yes, but she was also good at hiding her true self behind that mask. I could tell she was lying, but I didn't say anything right away. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but I just knew, something was broken beyond repair. A few days after the discovery, I started planning my next move. I couldn't just confront her without evidence, so I gathered everything I had: screenshots, lipstick traces, and the mental footage of her and Mike in that cabin. I needed to be sure before I made any accusations. I also noticed her phone had more hidden messages, deleted but recoverable. I felt like I was becoming some kind of detective in my own life, searching for clues that painted a very clear picture. Emily wasn't the woman I thought she was. One night, I finally decided I'd had enough. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine. I sat her down, told her I knew about the affair, and watched her reaction like a hawk. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and called me paranoid again. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "You always think everyone's against you. It's just sex, Jake. It doesn't mean anything." That was her go-to line. She loved to downplay everything, make it seem like I was the crazy one, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I had enough evidence and that I wanted an honest explanation. Her response: she accused me of being jealous, insecure, and claimed I was imagining things or just being paranoid because I didn't trust her. The thing is, I knew she was lying. Her tone, her eyes, they gave her away. She was bitchy, deflecting, trying to turn it around on me. And Mike, I knew he'd lied to my face too during every family gathering, acting like nothing was wrong. I felt like I was living in some sick soap opera, watching how they both tried to deny everything, even as I had the evidence right in front of me. My head was spinning. I wanted to scream, to break something, but instead I just sat there staring at her, feeling this intense mixture of rage and heartbreak. How could the woman I loved do this? How could she lie so effortlessly? And my brother, my own blood, was right there, complicit in the biggest betrayal I'd ever experienced. It was an emotional blow I don't think I'll ever fully recover from. After that confrontation, I felt like I had been hit by a freight train. My mind was racing between anger, sadness, and a deep sense of betrayal that I couldn't shake. I knew I had to decide what to do next, but honestly, I was just numb. I had trusted Emily with everything, my heart, my life, and she'd thrown it all away with her lies and her affair with Mike. The thought that she'd been sneaking around, lying to my face, and then lying in bed with me every night, it made me question every moment we shared, every word, every touch. I felt betrayed on a level I'd never experienced before. I couldn't sleep, of course. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her and Mike in that cabin, their bodies pressed close, the way she looked at him like he was the only person who mattered. It was sickening. I started to question everything about her. Was she ever really into me? Was I just some convenient guy she used while secretly cheating on me? The more I thought about it, the more I realized she'd been manipulating me from the start. That bitchy smirk she always wore, the way she dismissed my feelings, it all clicked into place. She was a master at hiding her true self, and I was blind for so long. I knew I couldn't just leave it at that. I needed to do something, something that would make her regret her choices, something that would send a clear message. Revenge simmered inside me, not just because she cheated, but because she did it with my own brother, the person I trusted most in the world. It was a betrayal that cut so deep I wondered if I'd ever be able to look at either of them the same way again. I started to craft my plan. I wanted her to feel what I was feeling, that hurt, that humiliation. I also knew I had to be smart about it. I didn't want her to spin out lies or deny everything when I finally confronted her again. I had to be prepared, have all my evidence in place, and make sure she couldn't brush it off. I knew I'd be cold, calculated, and relentless. If she thought I was just some naive guy who'd get over it in a week, she was dead wrong. This was going to be her wake-up call. And as much as I hated to admit it, I also felt a strange sense of relief. Like I was finally taking control of my life again after being so blindsided by her betrayal. Getting revenge wasn't just about hurting her back. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my peace of mind. I wanted her to understand that her actions had consequences, and if she thought she could just lie and cheat and walk away like nothing happened, she had another thing coming. I'd make sure she remembered what she did, and her betrayal with Mike wouldn't just be something I'd forget overnight. It would stay with me forever, a scar that served as a reminder of what I lost. Over the next few days, I threw myself into planning. I couldn't just confront her again without making her squirm. I needed to make sure she understood the full extent of what I knew. I dug deeper into her phone, found more messages that she tried to delete, but were recoverable. I also hired a private investigator to follow her and gather more evidence, just to be absolutely certain. I didn't want any he said, she said bullshit. I needed proof she couldn't deny. The more I uncovered, the angrier I got, seeing how she'd lied, manipulated, and betrayed me so effortlessly. Meanwhile, Emily kept acting like everything was normal. She threw on her bitchy mask, snapping at me, pretending she was the victim. "You're just jealous," she said one day, rolling her eyes when I confronted her again. "You're insecure because I don't need to explain myself to you." That's her favorite line. She loved to turn everything around, make it seem like I was the problem. But I knew better. I could see the thin veneer of her calm, the way her eyes flickered when she lied. She was a bitch for sure, but also incredibly good at hiding her true personality. That's what made her dangerous. I decided I'd have one final talk, but this time I'd be ready. I set up a camera in the bedroom just to record her reactions. I wanted her to see that I wasn't messing around. I made sure I had all my evidence in order, screenshots, messages, the footage from the cabin, and I was ready to confront her face to face. I knew she'd deny everything, call me crazy or paranoid, but I wasn't going to let her manipulate me again. This was it. I was done playing her game. I had to do something to get her to realize that her lies and betrayal had consequences. When I finally sat her down, she looked angry, irritated, like I was wasting her time. I told her I knew about her affair with Mike and I laid all the evidence on the table. Her face twisted into this bitchy sneer and she started to lie faster than I could keep up. "It's not what you think," she spat. "Mike and I are just friends. You're making a big deal out of nothing. You're just insecure because I'm more successful than you." That was classic Emily, try to turn it around, make me the crazy one. The problem was, I had all the proof and I wasn't backing down. As she kept lying and spinning her bullshit, I felt my temper rising. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her I was done being played. I said I wanted the truth, and if she continued to lie, I'd end it all. Her bitchy attitude cracked for just a second, and I saw a flicker of panic. That was when I knew I had her cornered. I hit record on my phone and showed her the footage from the cabin, her and Mike caught in the act. Her face went blank, and for the first time I saw her real self, the bitchy, manipulative woman I'd been married to, exposed for everyone to see. That moment felt like the beginning of the end. After I played the footage, everything changed. Emily's jaw clenched, and her usual bitchy attitude dissolved into pure panic. She stammered, trying to deny it, but the evidence was right there, crystal clear. I could see her eyes darting around, looking for a way out, but I had her cornered. I told her I didn't want to hear any more lies, that I'd seen enough. Her face twisted into anger now, and she snapped that I was overreacting, that I was just jealous, insecure, and that I was ruining everything. But I didn't care about her excuses anymore. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just about the affair, it was about respect. She had lied to my face, betrayed me in the worst way possible, and thought she could just sweep it under the rug. I felt this surge of disgust for her bitchiness, her manipulations, her lies. It all boiled over. I told her I was done, that I was leaving, and I was going to do everything in my power to make sure she paid for what she did. I wasn't just angry, I was hurt, furious, and a little numb. I had loved her once, but now I saw her for what she truly was, a lying, cheating bitch who played me like a fool. That night, I packed my bags and left. I didn't want to see her or talk to her anymore. My head was spinning, and I felt like I was walking through a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. But I knew this was the only way I'd get some clarity. I didn't want to be the guy who stayed and let her keep doing this. I had to take control of my life again, even if it meant starting over from scratch. In the days that followed, I cut off all contact. I blocked her number, deleted her from social media, and moved into a different place. I needed space, time to heal, and to figure out what I wanted. Honestly, I was a mess, angry, broken, betrayed. But I also felt a strange sense of relief. I finally knew the truth, and I finally took a stand. I realized I deserved better than someone who would cheat with my brother, lie about it, and then act like I was the crazy one. Looking back now, I see how much that betrayal changed me. It's made me more cautious, maybe even a little bitter. But it also made me realize I have to trust myself more than anyone else. I learned that some people, no matter how much you love them, are just not worth the pain they cause. I don't regret what I did, exposing her, confronting her, walking away. It's the only way I could start to rebuild. And honestly, I'm still hurting, but I'm getting better. Time will tell if I'll ever fully trust again, but for now, I just focus on moving forward. Now, sitting here, reflecting on everything, I realize I've learned more than I ever thought I would from such a brutal betrayal. It's one thing to suspect your partner is cheating, but to find out they did it with your own brother, right before your wedding, there's no coming back from that. It's a level of pain that makes you question everything about yourself, about trust, about the people you thought you knew. I've come to accept that I was naive in ways I don't want to be anymore. I trusted her because I loved her, but love isn't enough when someone is willing to betray you so thoroughly. Revenge, in this case, wasn't about hurting her just for the sake of hurting, though I admit, that felt satisfying at first. It was about reclaiming my dignity, making her face the consequences of her actions. I needed her to see that her lies had shattered everything we built, that her manipulative bitchiness couldn't hide the truth anymore. When I played that footage and laid out all the evidence, I saw the moment her mask finally dropped. That was the moment I knew I had won, not in her eyes, but in my own peace of mind. I won't lie, moving on is hard. There are days I feel broken, days I question if I'll ever trust again or find someone who truly cares. But I also know I'm stronger now. I learned to listen to my instincts, to really see people for who they are, not who I want them to be. I learned that betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you how to stand up for yourself. I'm not perfect, and I probably will carry some scars forever, but I refuse to be a victim. That betrayal pushed me to grow in ways I never expected. If I could give anyone advice from my experience, it's this: trust your gut. Don't ignore the red flags, no matter how much you love someone. Sometimes, the people closest to us are the ones who can hurt us the most, and that's a harsh lesson. But it's also a lesson about resilience. You have to pick yourself up, rebuild, and find your own happiness again, even if that happiness means walking away from everything you once held dear. Because in the end, you're the only one who truly has to live with your choices. And sometimes, the best choice is to walk away from betrayal and start over,